All right, team, let's talk about the warm-up for Saturday, March 21st, starting on the ground with 10 per side seated hip rotations, trying to open up those hips a little bit. Then we are into our circuit, 2 per side of Turkish Get-ups. We'll see what that looks like with or without an object. 10 per side of a single leg glute bridge, really turning on your butt and hips here. 15 per side of a leg raise hip thrust. This is really more of an ab movement than anything else. And then 10 wall facing overhead squats. What's that? Let's take a look. All right, Saturday's warm-up starts with a seated hip rotation. So first, I would like you to join me in this figure 4 position. So both feet pointing in the same direction. This foot is just touching my thigh. Staying as tall as I can. My feet stay still, my knees move. We're gonna go up and over and end up in the same position on the other side. Staying as tall as I can, up, over, right here. If this is too hard, if you need to move your feet around, lean back. Hands down, knees up and over, or if it feels weird, sometimes if you haven't done this before, the movement just feels impossible to master, and this makes it a little more understandable, kind of windshield wipers, and then you can start sitting up nice and tall, 10 each way. Continuing on with the warm-up, Turkish get-ups 2 per side. So with an empty hand starting with, it looks, oh, don't forget to move your lavalier mic. Gotta move that lav, or else things get real uncomfortable. On your back, 1 bent knee, 1 straight knee, hand up in the air. Keeping this hand in the air, you're going to get all the way up and come all the way down. Under control the whole way. You may certainly hold something in one hand if you like. So double check that bottle's closed. Nice and tall, up, here, stand up through, back, and down. Now, I'm gonna break this down. If you're a Turkish Get-up ninja, you can scroll ahead a couple of seconds. One at a time. On the ground, 1 bent knee. Whichever knee is bent, that same side arm holds the object. Nice and tall. You're going to sit up. Actually, I'm going to switch sides. I think this will be easier for you to see. So bent knee, that's the loaded arm. I'm going to sit all the way up on an elbow. Loaded arm is still straight. I'm looking at it. I'm going to post up on a straight arm. Loaded arm is straight. I'm still looking at it. This is where everything goes wrong usually. I'm going to raise my hips as high off the floor as I can and put this foot as far behind me as I can. Sit all the way up. You should be in the bottom of a lunge. If you are here, you didn't step far enough back. In the bottom of that lunge, I'm gonna press hard off my front leg, step up and through, back the way I came. Reverse lunge way back, reach for the ground, it'll be there. Your back leg becomes your front leg, down to an elbow, down to the ground. 2 per side for Turkish get-ups. Next, we have single leg glute bridges, sitting back. You're going to pick one leg, we'll end up using both. Extend that other leg. You may absolutely use your hands into the ground if you like. Hips as high off the ground as you can, and back to the deck. As high off the ground as you can, and back to the deck. We're doing both sides here. If this is too hard, if you're trying to leave the ground and failing, turn it into a regular glute bridge. Both legs, press down hard, high as you can get, squeeze, back to the deck, high as you can get, back to the deck. 10 per side or 15 regular glute bridges. Third part of this circuit, 15 leg hip thrusts. Leg hip thrust, you're gonna lay back, hands on the ground, straight legs, and you're going to get your butt as high off the ground as you can, reaching your legs straight up. Reach, reach, reach. You can absolutely use some momentum for this. Don't feel like you need to be super strict pressing up. You want a little rock, reach, reach. If this is too hard, bend those knees, turn it into a tuck. Tuck, tuck. This is mostly an ab move. You may well feel it, that's on purpose. We're gonna get 15. All right, last part of the circuit, wall facing overhead squats. In CrossFit, sometimes we call this squat therapy. So from the front, still in that beautiful squat stance, we're just gonna reach your hands overhead. We're not gonna hold any weight on this. Hands overhead, as low as you can get in that beautiful squat stance, However, we're not doing it from the front, we're doing it facing a wall. This makes it much harder. Relatively close to the wall, hands up overhead, eyes forward, pushing back, heels on the ground, knees out over your toes as low as you can get, right back up again. The circus trick is toes touching the wall. Can you actually get all the way down and all the way up again? The warm-up guy might just be showing off. You don't have to get that close. 10 up and down, 2 to 3 times through this circuit. Talking about Saturday's Metcon, we're going a little bit long. It's a 25-minute EMOM. That is EMOM every minute on the minute. You're going to do one task and rest the remainder of the minute. Minute 1, first task, 5 per side single arm overhead squats. Second minute, 15 tuck jumps. Third minute, 20 bag Russian swings. Fourth minute, 45 seconds of a book lateral skier. And the fifth minute, you get to rest. Let's take a look at all these. All right, talking about this 25-minute EMOM for Saturday. Equipment-wise, you need a bag. Any kind of bag will work. The trusty backpack is great, duffel bags, anything like that. Today, we're gonna use a little tote bag. You also need a little bit of weight, and this could be a number of things. You do not need separate objects for all these exercises, as we're going to show you. So I have a couple of books, and a 3 3/4 gallon container of bleach, and a little bag. Starting with the single arm overhead squats. I'm gonna take a thing, Atlas of Anatomy in this case, single arm overhead squat, single arm goes overhead, and you squat. It's just that easy. Try and keep that object right over the middle of your body. Don't let it track forward. Reach up really strong, as low as you can go, do it well, right back up again. 5 on one side, 5 on the other. This doesn't need to be heavy to make it feel like something. After that, you rest the remainder of the minute. Hopefully this takes 25 to 30 seconds. Second movement, 15 tuck jumps. So the RX tuck jump, as it were, you're going to load those hips up, knees to your chest, get as much air as you can. If something's going on with your knees or feet, if you can't jump, if you have downstairs neighbors, we're going to turn this into fast air squats. Down to the bottom, pause. How fast can you come up? Down to the bottom, pause. As fast as you can on the way up. Still 15. Rest the remainder of the minute. Again, we're looking for this to be 30 or 40 seconds of work. Third movement, bag Russian swings. So I'm going to take my objects, toss them right in my tote bag. So a couple of books, a container of bleach. For a tote bag, I like holding the handles, knees back. No, that's not true. Knees stay where they are, hips back. Reach right up to eye level. Reach right up to eye level. If this is too long, tie a little knot in it, make it shorter. You can absolutely hold this bag on its side, hips back, fire it forward. Hips back, fire it forward. You can hold almost anything to do this. If you don't have a bag for some reason, we could do this with just our objects. Grab that bag of bleach, both hands, hips, and up, hips, and up. We're looking to swing 20 times, rest the remainder of the minute, probably less rest here, probably 15 or 20 seconds of rest. Last part, book lateral skiers. Now, this doesn't necessarily need to be a book. I'm using books because that's what we have on hand here. You need a target, ideally slightly raised. So, 1 foot on that target, 1 foot beside it. You're going to change sides as quickly as you can for 45 seconds. Something higher will be harder, but make sure it's stable. I probably wouldn't do this on a stack of 17 books, but if you have a little bench, a block, an ottoman, something like that will work totally great. 45 seconds, keep moving for 45 seconds, because then you get 15 seconds of rest, and the next minute is also rest. You should go really hard here. You're supposed to get sweaty. You're supposed to be tired. We're gonna go through the whole thing, 5 rounds.